The issue of bitcoins in India is that it has become a very strong destination for investments. There are many investors, including famous ones like the Indian actor Amitabh Bachchan, who are investing in bitcoins because it has a very strong value, and the value in exchange terms has been growing quite well recently. The other area where bitcoins are being used is in that of remittances. India is one of the countries that receives a very large number of remittances from people living abroad. Now, sending money, for instance in dollars, requires you to make some arrangements which cost money and are also sometimes inconvenient. Sending money in bitcoins is very easy, and also the exchange rates are very favorable. One example where people are accepting money in bitcoins is that of freelance professionals. People like coders and perhaps data miners who are working for firms abroad are accepting money in bitcoins because the exchange rates are favorable and it is very convenient. Now that is bitcoins. Bitcoins is built on a technology known as blockchain. And this technology by itself is in some sense far more interesting than bitcoins. Blockchain technology has basically 5 properties. One, it is like a distributed ledger. A ledger is some place where you record transactions. In a blockchain, these transactions are maintained in a distributed manner. Second, these transactions are all transparent. So they are visible to all the stakeholders who are involved in them. Third, these transactions are secure, meaning once the transactions are made, they cannot be hacked into or read by anybody else. They are irreversible in the sense that you cannot go back on these transactions. Now, the last property is that each of these transactions that are recorded in the blockchain ledger is concurrently available to all those who are on the blockchain. These 5 properties have led to a lot of innovations in blockchains. I'll give you 3 examples. One is firms are using blockchains to make payments to their vendors. Typically, a large firm may have dozens, if not hundreds of vendors to whom they have to make payments based on various services rendered. Sometimes the payments are given partially, sometimes they are given entirely, sometimes they are delayed. All these can be recorded transparently and in an incontrovertible manner on a blockchain platform. What this does is it removes a large number of intermediary agencies, maybe banks, maybe lawyers, maybe exchange players, maybe intermediaries who make payments. They are not needed because the blockchain provides the trust which is necessary for these transactions. Another example is that of using smart contracts. Now, many times when a vendor gives you a service or a product, you can write a little bit of code which is placed on the blockchain, and the code executes and makes a payment, maybe a digital payment, moment the service is rendered. This is a smart contract. The third important area of application is watching the supply chain. Let us say you are a retailer and you are retailing fresh fruits. You can use a blockchain to understand when the fruit was harvested, when it was packaged, how long it stayed in the transfer process, and when it reached your retail outlet. This gives you a very good indication of the origins of the fruit, and you can then tell your customer how fresh the fruit is. Now, these 3 applications point to the potential, the immense potential of blockchain for many other innovations. And in fact, in Bangalore, there are many startups which are working on these developments. There is an issue of regulation in blockchain also, and that is a question that has come. Blockchains will eventually have to be regulated, in my opinion, on 2 grounds. One is interoperability. People are building blockchains on their own technologies, and these may not be necessarily interoperable. In fact, there is possibly no standard right now for what a blockchain is. The other part is actually regulating the persons who are creating the blockchain, because there is now trust being reposed in them, those who are building the blockchains. These regulations will eventually come, many governments will then implement them, and this will lead to massive innovation in this domain. Thank you.